Hi, and welcome to the first of three screencasts showing you how to make rollover buttons for a web page. We're going to use a couple of applications to do this, Dreamweaver and Fireworks. But first of all, let's have a look what a rollover button is. If I go to my web browser, in this case it's Google Chrome, I've gone to the Think You Know web page for 11 to 16s, and you'll notice on the right hand side of this there are some nice graphical images to illustrate the different areas of the website. If I roll over with my mouse, you'll notice as the mouse goes over the image, excuse me, the button indicates that it's a button by changing colour, so that when we click on it, you get a little bit more interactivity, like you can see there. And again, it continues throughout the site, so a nice consistent theme. We're going to have a go at doing this on the Top Gun website. So instead of having just textual hyperlinks, we're going to have a little bit of a graphical feel behind it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the button first of all, which is just a very simple image created in Fireworks. So we do File and New, and we're going to select the size that we want. It's probably going to be around 200 to 250 pixels in size, and it's probably going to be about 30 pixels in height. Don't be too worried about this though, because you can change this later on, and we'll cover this in a later tutorial. Select transparent as being the canvas colour. Again, you can change that if needs be, but transparent is a good safe bet to go for. And then click OK. Here you can see that's the approximate size of our graphic, and all we're going to do is we're going to create a rectangle that almost fills that size, and we'll just change the colour of it. I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll pick up one of the colours from the website that we're doing. So if I just resize this window a little bit so we can see the nice blue background, I'll click on there, suck up the colour from the web page, and then when we go back you'll notice that the button image is the same colour now. Now let's just tweak. We notice that you've got an X and Y coordinate for that top left hand dot. We'll change that to 1 and 1, and we'll make the width of it 249 by, it should have been 248 by 28. So we've got 1 pixel either side. We could of course have gone to the black pointer tool and dragged these dots around, but sometimes it's just a little bit more accurate to type in the numbers yourself. Last little bit, let's want to make it a little bit more like a button by changing this figure here. As we increase the number and click off it, you'll notice the corners of that rectangle just increase a little bit in radius, so you get a nice button feel. I think one more nice little feature would be having a line around it. So we'll go for white, and we'll just change the thickness of it to be a little bit bigger, and we'll have it all inside the path. So that's inside the shape itself. Now we're ready to start adding the text. So we're going to go to the text tool, and the important thing to select here is get the size right now. So do get your button looking like you want it to, and then you won't need to change it for all the other buttons in there. So I'm going to go down to about a size 10 pixel font. There we go, and we're going to change the font typeface, and we'll pick up Arial, because I think that website there has been, yep, certainly the navigation bar's Arial. And you'll notice probably the longest one will be Kelly McGillis after. So we're going to have that centre aligned, so we're going to click, we're going to have it white as well, we're going to click in the centre of that button. And it was Kelly McGillis after. And then we're just going to tweak it a little bit, make sure that it sits into our... But now I'm just checking to see if I've spelled Kelly McGillis right. And I have indeed. So I'll get it in the middle of the button, and I'm going to increase the size of it just a touch. I think I'll make it bold, so that it looks just about right. We can do some other tweaking, like we can make the thickness, the spacing a little bit, so making the text a little bit wider. So there we've got the button. I think that looks a little bit wide. So let's decrease the width of the button itself. So I'm going to take off, let's take off 20 off this. And then we're going to add on 10, which is half of 20, so it's in the middle. That's just about right. Last little bit. You'll notice that when we click on the button, we haven't had any filters yet. We're going to add a special filter now called the brightness contrast filter, so that as we roll over the mouse, the button looks a little bit darker. So I think it's the easiest way to add this nice rollover effect. So we're going to go down to this bottom right hand corner of the properties panel and change the filter options to include the brightness contrast. If we move it out of the way, we can preview our changes, and this is just going to change for the button itself. Now I think actually it might look better if we increase the brightness of it slightly. Click OK. And then as we click on the tick here, you'll notice we can apply or unapply the effect. Like so. Leave it off, and we're going to save it. So I'm going to save it as, and I'm going to save it into my working folder. If I could spell it right. And I'm even going to create my own special folder in the images folder called buttons. So I'm going to create a new one. It's always good to have your files and folders named appropriately. And we're going to call it Kelly 1. Then we're going to create the second version of it, what it looks like when the mouse is over the top of the button. So we're going to put the tick back onto the filter, save it again. This time it's going to be Kelly 2. Save. So let's have a look at the two buttons that we've got. I open up the recent Kelly 1 and Kelly 2. and I restore those to a window so we can see them side by side. Here you've got the two versions of the buttons, what it would look like normal, what it would look like when the mouse is over the top of it. That concludes the first tutorial. Next tutorial, we're going to be looking at duplicating these buttons and getting ready to actually use them in Dreamweaver.